Hey friends, welcome to the Angie Ambrosetti Show, Let Her Out to Play. I'm Angie, your host, a teenage mom turned multi-six-figure earner, married to the same man for nearly 40 years. I'm a homeschooling mom of 7 and totally unqualified, at least on paper, but wildly called by God. Remember, He doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. Here, we are going to talk about it all. Healing from the hard stuff, building a business with heart, raising a big family, walking in faith, and finally breaking free from the lies that said we weren't enough. So if you're ready to stop playing small, shake off the doubt and the shame, and step fully into who you were created to be, girl, you are in the right place. Let's go. Hey friends, welcome back to the Angie Ambrosetti Show. Super excited to be on here today, and I don't have any guests, so it's just yours truly. And I'm just to be super honest, I started recording the podcast and my headphones died. So you guessed it. Well, if you can see me anyway, I have to plug in from both sides because I need the charge, right? Anyways, guys, I'm hopping on here today because I wanted to share with you something that a lot of people have been asking me about. I've been talking to people about this for a couple of years, and I thought, hey, why not? Why not just hop in here and share it with the rest of you? So those of you who know me well probably already know this about me, but a lot of you probably do not know this. For almost 3 years, I have been eating a carnivore diet. Now, I don't even like to say diet because I'm not dieting, but it's a way of eating. And it's been all the rage for several years. And I just kind of stumbled upon it really. And prior to starting this carnivore diet 3 years ago, this December, I wasn't hardly eating meat at all. And so basically, there are different types of diets that fall inside of carnivore-ish, which is kind of what I call myself, the approachable carnivore, because I want people to be able to feel like they can approach me about it. And I'm not going to be judgmental and I'm not going to be super rigid. So there's something called the lion diet. And I will share some notes about that for you guys. But it's basically where you only eat beef. I think the other one is bison and salt. That's all that is it. And that is the extreme. There's also the carnivore way of eating that is only beef, bacon, eggs, and butter. And you need the butter because you need to get the extra fat. There's another, even slightly less rigid way of carnivore eating that is any animal products. So as long as there are no additives and it's just pure animal products, that's another way. And then the fourth way, which is the really relaxed way, is kind of like keto carnivore. So you focus mainly on meat and with a high emphasis on beef, but you can eat other one ingredient items, such as you could eat fruit, you could eat vegetables, you can eat things that are one ingredient. Does that make sense? And so for me, I fall about the animal products only. That is what I have been doing ish. And I want to be super clear because I'm not 100%. And I have on occasion eaten things that aren't necessarily animal based. But for the last almost 3 years, like I said, I've been pretty strict. I usually say I'm about 90. Well, I used to be about, I'd say about 80% because I used to drink alcohol. That was my vice, so to speak. And about a year and a half ago, I completely cut out any alcohol at all. So I'm like 500 and something days or a little bit more. I don't know. I haven't looked at the number recently without alcohol. So that kind of pushed me up to like the 90 to 95% carnivore. And so I have a Facebook community that's called the Approachable Carnivore / Carnivore-ish. And the reason I say ish again is because I'm not 100%. And I want people to know that they can talk to me, that I can help them. And, like I said, I'm not an expert, but I've been doing it for about 3 years. And I love the way that it makes me feel. My husband is doing it with me ish. And my younger kids that still live at home, I still have 3 at home. And, reluctantly, they are doing it with me some. They're about 50%. So they would fall in that really low category of like when mom's cooking the food or dad's cooking the food, that's what we're getting. But here's the thing, guys, is that when my younger boys actually did this for 2 weeks, all three of them felt the best that they've ever felt. Their acne was totally gone. And I'll just tell you, like, sugar is a huge proponent for acne. And they felt better. They got better rest. There's so many things when you clean up your diet, and it doesn't have to be carnivore, but it's what I love. And I don't know, when I get started, people are like, "You're crazy. What are you doing?" This isn't the first thing that I've ever done that people thought I was crazy. When I started, homeschooling, people thought I'd lost my mind. And there's that. When we had a big family, when we adopted children, people are like, "What are you thinking? You already have 4 kids. Why in the world would you want to adopt more kids? Why would you want to continue to, expand your family and things like that?" So, it's not the first time that I've been known as crazy. When I started my health and wellness business over 10 years ago, people thought I was crazy about that too. So, you know what? I am used to having the title of crazy. I'm okay with it. Like, I'm totally okay with it. But I just wanted to hop on here and share a little bit about this with you guys because I think it's something that you could look into and just see. Maybe it's a fit for you. Maybe it's the lower end that might be a good fit for you. But I will tell you this is that when you cut out sugar, number one, when you cut out processed foods, number two, and when you cut out as much eating out as you can, when you cut out seed oils, oh my word, seed oils, not good for any of us, right? Those are things that will really help improve your overall health. And like, guys, this isn't about dieting. It's not about losing weight. Any of you who know me, like, I don't need weight loss. It's not one of my things, but I absolutely want to feel my best. And I actually do. I feel much better in my 50s as I did in my 40s and my 30s. And, I take really great supplements. Those of you who know me know that as well. But this is about longevity. And so I am a believer in Jesus, if you don't know that about me. And I 100% believe that the Lord has our days numbered. But I also know that the Bible says that we need to be good stewards of our temple, of our body that the Lord gave us. And so I want to do my best to keep my body thriving as much as possible until the Lord calls me home, until it's my day. So trying to be a really good steward of everything that goes into my body, even good water, good supplementation. I mean, plenty of water. And yes, we want it to be good. Great supplementation. I absolutely believe in moving my body at least 5 times a week. I'm getting some time of extra movement in, not just walking around the office or, chasing my grandkids or whatever that looks like, but intentional movement at least 5 days a week. And so I'll tell you this cute little story. So just a couple days ago, I got back. Well, yesterday, actually, I got back from a trip out in Utah. And one day, it was like about 7 miles. Like we were walking, we were hiking, and the hike was like, whoo, straight up. It was very horizontal. And I'm not a hiker, so that's not my thing. But I enjoyed it. I had a great time. I had to stop a few times along the way because, I got a little bit winded. You get out in Utah and it's elevated and the air is really thin and it's just different than it is where I live here in Tennessee. So anyway, that's just a little side note, but just keeping my body moving, keeping me hydrated, doing good supplementation, and then taking care and being super intentional with everything that I put in my body. And again, I'm telling you, I'm not perfect at it. I'm carnivore-ish, hyphenated ISH. And so, I just look at it as I know my body and I know when I'm putting things in it, like I like chips and salsa. Like I'm just going to be honest about it. That is a weakness that I have. So I try not to go to the Mexican restaurant too often because I love to eat chips and salsa. Queso, avocado, and I will eat avocado and I consider that, super clean carnivore. It's not from an animal, obviously, but it is a 1 ingredient food. And if you, just depending on what you mix in with guacamole or whatever, but the chips, okay. So let's just be honest, like chips, there is no possibility that is even like something that's really good for us. Okay. But here's one thing that I have been alternating a lot lately because one of the things that we do as a family is on Sundays after church, we usually, or a lot of the times, more often than not, when our adult children and our grandchildren are with us, we will eat at the Mexican restaurant. Now, I'm going to tell you, prior to carnivore, we used to eat Mexican sometimes 3 to 4 times a week. Like, we love Mexican. But when I went carnivore, we really cut a lot of that out. But on Sundays, when our adult kids and the grandkids go to church with us, a lot of times we'll stop at the Mexican restaurant on the way home. So we always make a pit stop before, not always, but most of the time. Like, if I say always, I don't mean 100% of the time. Like, I'm trying to be super honest with you guys here. Like, there are times that I actually eat the chips, right? But most of the time, I will stop at the grocery and grab a bag of pork rinds. Now, I get pork rinds that it is, like I check ingredients, anytime I buy anything that comes in a package, and it literally is just pork skin, salt, and then it's fried in the lard. So there's nothing else added to it. Those are really good and crunchy. You can eat salsa on those. You can eat guacamole on those and queso. So that is my weakness. Just a full honest moment here. I do that, sometimes. And sometimes I go to the Mexican restaurant and I don't have them and I eat the chips. And sometimes I go and I don't have them and I don't eat the chips. Like, it's just a matter of what I feel like that day and how strict I feel like being for the moment. And so, there are just different things along the way that I have learned to adapt and be really, intentional. And so that's what I'll say is I want to be super intentional about what I'm putting in my body. And so, I just wanted to hop on and say, hey, if this is something that you'd like to take a look at, maybe you're not interested. Maybe you're like, this is crazy. She's nuts. I have no intention of ever doing this or looking into it because I'm in it, like a full disclosure here. This happened about 5 years ago. My son was playing football at a high school that he was playing football at this one particular year. And my husband and I showed up and I had this white t-shirt on. It said plant-based. Because back then, like I said a little bit ago, I was pretty much like vegetarian. I didn't hardly eat meat at all. And so I prided myself in being plant-based. And there was a gentleman, his son played on the team as well. And he said, he looked at my shirt and he kind of laughed. And my husband's like, what? And he goes, she's plant-based. I'm meat-based. And I was like, that's dumb. Like, that's just like who I am, right? And he's like, yeah, I only eat meat. And I'd never heard of that. And I was like, well, that's crazy. But my mind went back to during practices. I remember seeing this man. He would park beside us in his truck and he had a grill on the back of his truck. And I didn't know him at the time, but I knew he was one of the dads. And he would cook burgers, steaks, whatever on the back of his truck. And I just always thought, well, he lives a long ways away. So he's just cooking his food here because, they don't want to eat out, which is awesome. But little did I know, he actually only ate meat. He was carnivore. And so, whereas at the time I thought that was kind of crazy, I'd never heard of it. And I wasn't even curious. I was like, that's just no, hard pass. And so it was about a year or two, must have been 2 years later. A girlfriend of mine, and we were talking, and something came up about meat. And don't you know, we were talking about eating only meat or eating a lot of meat or something. And the very next day, stuff about carnivore popped up on my news feed because, like your phone hears everything you say. And as I'm recording right now, my phone is right here. And I guarantee you, when I get on there, it's going to be talking about that. So it's just going to be there, right? Anyway, I was like, oh, what is this? So I started looking and I called my husband and I was like, babe, remember when we were talking to that guy and he was talking about only eating meat? Like, there's all this stuff on my newsfeed about that. So I start looking and I guarantee you my husband was like, oh my goodness, she's going to go for this. Like, he knows me, he knows my personality. And so, yeah, December 3rd of that year, which would have been 2022, I decided that I was going to go all in. So now, the holidays are coming and different things. And I was pretty slack, but come January of 2023, I think it was 2024, my husband did it with me, my boys did it with me. They did it for a solid 2 weeks and I just kept going and they all felt so much better. And like I said, my husband does it pretty much, about 80% with me now. And yeah, people ask like, how long are you going to do this? Like in the beginning, they were like, how it's like, why are you doing this? You don't need to lose weight because doesn't everyone always think, well, if you do some kind of diet, that's why I like to call it a way of eating instead of diet. You don't need to lose weight. Why are you doing this? And I was just like, it's not a diet. Like people can lose weight. But people can also get really, really healthy, get really intentional, build muscle without really doing a lot of working out, without a lot of heavy lifting, different things like that. And so I honestly, like, I just kept going. And here we are coming up on 3 years, and I really have no intention of going back to any other way of eating. Now, that's not to say that I will never eat a piece of fruit or vegetable. There are times when I don't have anything. I don't have another choice when I'm traveling or what I'm doing. And so, I have eaten fruit. I really don't eat vegetables. And I want to be honest, like my kids, like they were not disappointed when I said, you don't have to eat vegetables anymore. You don't have to eat salad anymore. They weren't disappointed by that at all. And so, yeah, I'm going to keep going. I'm loving it. And another question that people ask a lot is, why do you eat better? Okay, so I eat a lot of butter and I eat pure organic butter because you need 70% fat and about 30% protein. And sometimes people get that mixed up. They think, oh, I just need to eat all of this protein, but you really need fat to get into your body so that your body absorbs the nutrients that you need. And so like with steak, like I always eat the fat and as much of the gristle as I can because I love that. I cook with beef tallow. It's my number one cooking preference for any kind of oil. My second is butter. And I eat the butter because I want to get as much of the nutrients in as I can and be able to be fully satiated. And so that's why I eat so much butter. I personally like it really cold, almost frozen. And yeah, I really love it. And if you try it, like you might love it too. If you want tips or whatever, you can ask them, or you can also follow me on my Facebook page that is strictly for Carnivore-ISH. And if you just want to get educated, you can check it out as well. And I will put that in the show notes as well. The other thing that people ask me a lot is, you travel a lot. How do you eat carnivore like that? Like if you're eating steak every night out, it's really expensive or whatever. And so I take food with me the majority of the time. For instance, I went to Utah last week and my husband cooked me 2 New York strips the night before, and he just cooked them a little under. He sliced them up for me. We froze them. So I put them in a bag with a frozen stick of butter and I just put it in my backpack. And you can travel with that. It's not a problem at all to travel with that as long as your food is frozen and you disclose it when you get there. Just let them know what you're doing. And I've not had a problem. A lot of times I'll make burgers ahead of time, freeze them, take them with me. I take beef bars. I always take my butter with me as well. And yes, I can get it when I go to the store, but I just try to have it because sometimes I'm flying and I'm on a plane for 4 or 5 hours and I don't want to eat the food that's there. So I want to take what I have. I get really clean beef bars that only have beef and salt and they're already packaged up. And it's kind of like like a bar that you would eat, some kind of protein bar or whatever. So I do that. And then I also use, there's a couple different brands of really clean beef sticks that I take as well. Sometimes I'll scramble up eggs. Listen, I have taken a full suitcase full of food before. Nothing is in it except for my food. I just freeze it all, take it with me if I'm going to be gone for an extended period of time. And that's just how I do it. And it's not a problem. I'm getting it done ahead of time. One, I'm saving money. Two, I'm feeling better. And it's not a problem at all. So, anyways, I don't know. This might not even be of any interest to you, but like I said, I've had so many people in the last couple months that have been coming to me and asking a lot of questions. And I thought, you know what, this would just be a really great way to get some information out to a lot of people all at one time. And I would love to have you join my Facebook community and, just see. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not. Maybe you have some tips and you'd like to share them as well. So, anyways, I hope this information is helpful for you. And like I said, whatever questions you have, please feel free to just ask and I'll do the best I can. And here's the thing about me, guys. If I don't know the answer, I will find it for you because I don't know everything, right? Like none of us know it all. And, I'm getting in that space of people feeling like I'm an expert at this because I've been doing, I've just been doing it a lot longer than some, but not nearly as long as others. I follow a lot of amazing doctors all over the world, a lot of people who have been doing this a long, long time. And I'm enjoying it. So, anyways, if you have questions, just let me know. And yeah, I guess that's it. But if this was helpful for you, please leave a 5-star review. Please leave a comment for me. I don't know if you're watching this from YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcast, but whatever it is. And if you know someone who could benefit from this and you think, oh, this might be helpful for them, maybe they want to learn a little bit more about it, please share this podcast with them. And anyways, I will see you next time on the Angie Amberzetti Show. Peace out, my friends. Thank you. That's it for today, friends. Thanks for tuning in with me today. I hope today's episode stirred your soul, sparked your faith, and reminded you that your story is far from over. Keep walking in freedom. Keep showing up bold, and never forget, God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. Be sure to leave a review, subscribe, or share this podcast with a friend who needs to hear it as well. Until next time, keep letting her out to play because the world needs your fire.